So first of all, this is something we need to have in mind as leaders. Leaders set the tone for the interaction between team members. What I mean by that is that how do you so when I join the team and I don't know anything about a team, I don't know anything about a company, and I just follow a person, which is my, someone that should, show me how things are done here, right? And when I follow that person, I go around with that person through the organization, and the way that person interacts with everyone that they see and say, and the way they introduce me, and say, "Hey, Florian, these are the bad guys here, right?" Or, "Hey, Florian, this is the other department. We don't really work well with them, right?" So they already, passed on to me an image of how should I see those people, right? And as a leader, you set the stage for the interaction. So when I come in and I'm new to the team, I'm watching what the leader does. And if the leader speaks in a certain way with people, if the leader makes jokes, if the leader is always on time, I'm on time. If the leader is late, I might be late. The leader is late. That's probably the culture here. So first of all, we need to remind ourselves that leaders set the stage for the interaction. Secondly, we need to have, as leaders, these difficult conversations. We touch on this, right? So if we avoid those difficult conversations, and if we just ignore the elephant in the room, as we say it, then that will backfire and it will become a conflict, right? The third thing is that when we are able to create that healthy work environment, you just mentioned that when we have an idea where we ask a question and everyone is silent, it means that they don't feel safe to share. So unless we're able to create that environment where people feel safe to share, then there always going to be some conflict, and we're not even aware of that. The fourth thing that we as leaders could do is to encourage the type of behavior that we want to see in our team members, right? So if I see Madalena does something great, I on one side make sure that I acknowledge when someone does something that it's not acceptable, and I have that conversation and I deal with that. But I also encourage Madalena or other team members for what they do well, because if I want Madalena to do more of that, I want to reward Madalena for that. So when someone sees that Madalena gets a compliment and Madalena gets acknowledged for doing something, right? Then so, if I want to be acknowledged, then I need to do what Madalena did, right? So we reinforce more of the behavior we want to see, right? On one side, we say this is not applicable. This is not acceptable when we see something which shouldn't happen. But on the other side, we also let know people that this is actually what we expect. The last thing is something we already touch on, is praising people in public, but coach them in private, right? So when someone does something good, of course we want to celebrate with the team, but when they do something that is maybe not the way we expected, we don't want to criticize in front of a group. So these were like just some 5 steps, 5 things that if leaders do, they will definitely create an environment in their teams which will be not conflict free, because that's not the goal, but they will be able to manage and handle conflict in much better ways.